Hi everyone, this is Daniel from Jamf Professional Services, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install the Jamf Active Directory Certificate Server Connector in order to allow Jamf to proxy Active Directory certificates requests. So this is different from a SCEP proxy. This is a component where you would not need to allow the inbound from the Jamf server into a SCEP or turn on NDES. This is actually if you're using the DCOM method. So to give you the examples here, so we have two options here. We have on-premise, which is what I'll be showing you today. And you can see there's the Jamf Pro server on-prem. That will contact the Active Directory Certificate Server Connector, which will then contact the CA. And the devices will just hit the Jamf server as per normal. If you're using Jamf Cloud, you will notice here that we have the Jamf Active Directory Certificate Server Connector contacting the CA, and the Jamf server in the cloud will need to contact this over 443. It will need to be a direct 443 connection, because there is a specific certificate that's created as part of the install. If you have something in the middle like an F5 that is inspecting or replacing the certificate, the communication will be broken. Okay, so I have three servers here. I have just a standard LDAP server that's just providing like AD and a domain. I have a certificate authority, which is just set up as a certificate authority, and I have an Active Directory Certificate Server Connector. All three are Windows 2016. That is a minimum requirement for installing the connector. So if I have a look here, here's my CA. It is brand new. There are no issued certificates. If I go to my server manager here, and I look at the roles and features, you can see that only the certification authority has been installed. I haven't installed any of the additional services like NDES or the web enrollment. Okay, so as I mentioned, the requirement from the Active Directory Certificate Server Connector, it does need to be Windows 2016, and it does need to be bound to the same domain as the Windows CA. So you can download this connector from your Jamf Nation products. It was released with 10.6, so you will need a Jamf Pro 10.6 server. So I've got it downloaded here on my desktop, so I'm just going to extract it. Okay, I can see this folder there. Inside this, you've got an ADCS Connector folder. And inside here, we have three files. We have just a features XML, we have a deploy script, which is a PowerShell script, and we have an ADCS zip file. Very important, do not extract this zip file. The deploy PowerShell script will handle everything in there. It's expecting everything to be in here, so don't move anything around. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to file, we're going to open the PowerShell as administrator. Okay, now depending on your security settings on your machine, you may find that when you try and run the script, so if I just type in deploy, say help, I get this error here, and this is generally down to like a group policy setting about executing PowerShell scripts. So if you need to find out information about that, you'll see that I've got some commands here. So I've got get execution policy. If I copy this and I paste that in there, I can see it's setting it to remote sign, meaning that these things have to be signed before they can be executed. There is a KB article from Microsoft that you can see any information about there. What I'm going to do just for the temporary is I'm just going to set my execution policy to be unrestricted to allow me to run this. Am I sure? Say yes. And so now if I try running this again, say, okay, you sure this is an unsigned script? Do you want to run it? Say, I will run it once. And we can see here there's all the help commands that we've got in here. So we've got, if you're looking at replacing it or moving this around, we're going to be looking at a few of the commands here. One's going to be the FQDN, the Jamf Pro DN, and we're going to do a clean install. So I'm just going to close this and reopen it so it's nice and clean. So again, I'm just going File, Open Windows PowerShell as Administrator. If you do it within the Windows Explorer, it will actually open directly into that folder so you don't have to change directories. Okay, so I'm going to go deploy. I'm going to do the -FQDN. This is going to be the FQDN of the Active Directory Certificate Server Connector. So this aspect here. Now if you're unsure of what this is, we can run another command. All right, we want the FQDN as well. So we'll copy this, paste this in here, and we say, okay, there is my FQDN of the server that I'm currently on. So I'll go deploy fqdn, and I'll just select this so I don't make any spelling mistakes. Copy and paste that. And I'm going to do Jamf Pro DN. Notice the capital P and the capital D. And this is the sort of domain name of the Jamf Pro server. So you only need the FQDN of the Jamf Pro server. You do not need to include HTTPS, and you do not need to include your ports. So my server is jamf.jamfpro.services. And the last thing I'm going to do is a flag for clean install. It's going to say, are you sure you want to run this? I say yes. And so what it's going to do is enable the relevant features and create 2 certificates that will be then uploading into the Jamf server. So it's enabling IIS, and that's what it's going to be listening on 443. It's going to add in the relevant certificate for it, which is going to be the certificate that it's going to spit out that you're going to upload into the Jamf server. We'll give that another moment. This will vary in time depending on the specs of your server, CPU, memory, all that kind of stuff. There we go, unzipping it, creating the sites, creating a specific service account that'll be referenced by the certificate. All right, don't close it right away because we've got this client cert key store password. So as I said, it made 2 certificates, and we can see them in the folder where we executed the script. So we have an ADCS proxy CA and we have a client cert. The client cert is a key store. It's a P12 certificate, meaning that it's encrypted, and this is the encrypted password. So we need to keep this because we're going to need to upload that. If you're worried about it, copy it, and we'll make a new text file. Client cert key store. And we'll paste that in there. Excellent. Okay, so I can close that now because I'm happy that I backed that up. Now what we're going to do is navigate to the Jamf server. So https jamf.jamfpro.services 8443. Should be contacting it. There we go. So sign in. Okay, so you see this is on the latest version at this time, which is 10.6.2. So we go to the settings here, and I go to PKI certificates. You'll see I have the option for configuring a new certificate authority. And I'll have an option of Active Directory Certificate Services. So I'll take this, and I'll go next. So I'm going to do the fully qualified name of the certificate authority server. So not the connector, but actually my CA. So if I want, I could open up the Powershell for that. Open Powershell. And if you remember the command that I had here. Okay, so win2016ca.jamfpro.services. So I'm going to paste that in there. The CA name, this is very important. This is what it appears in the certification authority here. This is here, this is the name. Okay, so it's not Win 2016 CA, it will be the Jamf Pro Win 2016 CA-CA. So very important that you get that right. If you get this wrong, the settings will not work. So I go Jamf Pro Win 2016 CA. Okay, now we've got the connector URL, and this will be the FQDN or IP address. I prefer FQDN, so I'm going to do that. And we should already have that. I've closed Powershell, so I'll open that again. Just let that open. Oh, no. Okay, and I'll copy this. And I'll paste that in there. Now you see we've got two certificates that we need to upload. The first is the server certificate. So if I click on the upload button and choose the file, go to my desktop, my connector folder, I've got the ADCS proxy CA. So this is your server one. So I'll select that and I'll go open and upload. And the next one I have is a client certificate, and this is the one with the key store. So it's asking for the password. So I'll choose the file here, client cert, and the password, because we were good and we backed it up. Copy that, and I'll paste that in there, and upload. Okay, so now the Jamf server is going to be contacting the Active Directory Certificate Server Connector on 443. And you'll see now if I open up Server Manager, you'll see that IIS will now be a service that's enabled. Okay, and if I go to my tools and I go IIS Manager and expand this down, go to sites, you'll see I have an ADCS proxy site. Excellent. So what we need to do now is we need to actually go back to our certificate authority and we need to define a template. Now these are your default templates whenever you've built a CA, but we're going to make a new template specifically for this. So I'm going to go to right click on this and I'm going to go manage. And I'm going to go with computer. I'm going to duplicate the template. Okay, I'm going to go to general here and I'm going to just call this, I'll call it Jamf. Okay. Keep note this is the template name. The display name could be very different from the template name. Your validity period, your renewal period, all your bits and pieces, you can configure this as you wish. Publish in the AD. We're going to go to our subject name, and we're going to change this from from the Active Directory information. We're going to change this supply in the request. Okay, we'll get a warning that said this is due to compatibility settings. And if we have a look at the compatibility settings, you'll see that there's some ones there that didn't like subject requests. So I mean, you could change this to be something a bit more modern. You go OK, and you'll see that's no longer complaining. And the other thing as well is security. So by default, these are your default security options. The ADCS connector is going to be performing these requests. So we need to add this machine to the security options in here. So if we change your object types, we can untick all of these and we just tick computers. And if we search for Win 2016 ADCSC, check the names, there's the machine, and I'm going to give it read and enroll privileges. And I'm going to go apply. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my CA and I'm going to right click again on templates. I'm going to go new certificate template to issue, and I should see the new template I've made in there. There it is. Okay, and there it is at the top. Now what I can do is I can go to computers, I can make a configuration profile. Actually, I might do this on the Mac side. So https jamf.jamf pro.services 8443. Actually, I should enroll this machine first. Pro admin. Now enroll, continue. Just going to enroll this machine quickly. Okay, and yep, that's enrolled. Excellent. So while that's doing that, I can look at making a configuration profile with the relevant settings. So if we go computers, I can go configuration profiles. And it finishes loading there. I can go new. Okay, I'm going to ADCS profile. Now, normally in the past when you were using Active Directory certificate, especially on Mac OS, you would scroll down and use the AD certificate payload. This would be if you were having the devices bound and you were having the devices contact the domain controller or the CA directly. With the Active Directory Certificate Server Connector, you do not need this. The devices only need to contact Jamf. So instead you use the certificate payload and you go configure. So you give it a name, so we'll call this ADCS test. And the certificate option here, you'll see that I've got my CA available now. Certificate subject, so this is what we're doing as part of the request. So if CN equals, I could put in something like Daniel Mac, or I could say $serial number. You can use your payload variable options as you will. I'll just do Daniel for the moment. And the template name. So I made the template name in the CA. You see it there? Oh, look at the preferences there. So I'm going to type that in there. Jamf. Go to scope. I go add. And I'm going to go add there. Save. Okay, it should sit there pending for a little bit because what it actually has to do is the Jamf server has to contact the proxy and then the proxy has to perform the request. So in my experience, I've seen it take about 10-15 seconds. Again, if you're in a clustered environment or anything large scale, you might find it takes you a little bit longer depending on what web application you're accessing compared to what the device they're talking to and so on. All right, let's see it's completed there. I see I've got my profile. And if I open up Keychain, go certificates, and I go system, I can see there's a certificate there with a private key that has come from the ADCS integration. This can be used as part of your TLS for network authentication, for VPN connection. So we go edit here and I would just maybe add another payload. It's Wi-Fi, security type, enterprise, TLS, and I'd say the identity will be the ADCS test. So that's available there. This also will work under mobile devices. So this is a really cool thing. If you go configuration profiles and you go new, in the past you've never had an ADCS or an AD certificate payload in this because you cannot bind an iOS device to Active Directory. But if you look at the certificate payload and configure, you'll see we have the exact same options and you put in your requests and away you go. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you very much for watching.